This little video is about how to shuffle tarot cards before you do any kind of reading. And I really ought to say at the beginning that you don't have to shuffle if you don't want to. You could, for instance, just unpack the cards. Normally cards are kept in silk when they're not in use, and then when you want to use them, it's a good idea to lay some silk on the table, let's say, and then put the cards directly onto that surface instead of putting them onto, let's say, a dirty coffee table or like a kitchen table, anything like that. So it keeps the cards clean and it's sort of protective, and it's a good idea. So you could, for instance, unpack the cards, and let's say you have a question, and let's say what's the purpose of life, for instance. You can just pick a card at random, no shuffling. I'll leave it to the side and we'll see what it is later. And that's it. You don't need to shuffle. However, if you think of the tarot as a wise old person that you're going to ask questions of, and you expect to get good information back. So you wouldn't, for instance, if you're going to visit somebody, stand in the street and throw stones at their window to get the attention, and then yell your question, through the open window. So in the same way, if you take a few minutes before actually selecting cards that you want to answer your questions, it sort of creates a pleasant, a better atmosphere, and it also puts the reader and the questioner in a better frame of mind, so they're going to be more concentrated and they're going to be more ready to hear as well as to understand the answer. And in some ways as well, taking a minute or two to shuffle cards, it's sort of more polite and more respectful, and I think that's always a good thing because you get better results. Okay, so let's say we're ready and we want to shuffle. What you do is you shuffle the cards for a bit. And I think it's a good idea for the reader to shuffle, partly because some people are not very good, whereas the reader at least has practiced using bigger, tarot cards are normally bigger than playing cards, which are maybe that size. And they can be a little bit awkward for people. So we shuffle for a bit, and then cards are face down on the table. You take some off the top and put them to the left. And then you take some off here and put them to the left again. Turn one pile. I always turn the middle, and then gather them up. And that's one shuffle. And you do this 3 times. And at the end of the 3rd shuffle, you're ready to select the cards that you want. I'm not, you can shuffle it as long as as short a period as you want. I'm just going to do this relatively quickly. Face down, some off the top to the left, some off the top again. Turn one, gather them up, and shuffle a bit more. Sometimes a card will fall out, or a couple of cards will fall out. What do? Some people read them, other people don't. I like to look at them. It may be that the card itself relates to the question, and so you could discuss it or keep it in mind as background information. Although there's something. Those two wanted to sort of slip out. Page of Swords and the 8 of Batons. So I don't know. I'm not going to do anything with this at the moment, but it might suggest something to the reader or to the questioner, and it could indicate something that you hadn't really thought about that really ought to be brought into the question and into the reading. So we go this way, 3rd time, face down, some to the left again. Turn one, gather them up, and that's it. So if I had been going to do a Celtic cross spread, I would at this point go, okay, 1st card, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and so on. And then 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that would be the Celtic cross spread. And then I put these down and I turn the 1st card, and that would be the beginnings of the answer. Although sometimes if you have, let's say, the questioner has half a dozen little questions or short questions, you could simply, having done the shuffling, okay, what's your first question, what's going to happen with so-and-so, and this is the answer, and you take it. And ideally, you're consistent in how you turn the cards. Some people will turn the card from side to side, okay? Other people will turn the card this way from top to bottom or bottom to top. And so you can see If I had turned this way, the card would have been upright. If I had turned, my habit is to normally turn top to bottom, the card would have been upside down or reversed. Some people don't deal with reverse cards. I like to have reverse cards because, if nothing else, it can give you an indication of whether there's going to be a delay. So this, for instance, is you winning a battle or being successful in a situation because you're above the other people and they can't really attack you that well, and you're defending yourself, but you're sort of in control of the situation. Whereas if the card had been upside down from the point of view of the reader, then are you going to be successful? Probably, but not as quickly as you want, or not as quickly as you expect. So you might want to take a look at your situation, discover where there are weaknesses that you haven't already understood, and fill the holes or set up circumstances so that your weaknesses can't be exploited by other people. And then we gather up. So what's the purpose of life? The Two of Pentacles, reversed. Okay, if you take it this way, he's not juggling, but he's balancing a couple of different things. So the purpose of life, to learn to handle more than one thing at a time. To learn to not juggle, but to find a sense of balance or a sense of harmony. And I suppose it means too that if you have harmonious thoughts in your mind, that harmony will be reflected by harmonious circumstances or conditions in your relationships with other people and in your everyday life. That's one answer. That's part of the answer anyway. So that's it. How to shuffle tarot cards. And at the end, keep the cards clean.